the 98 Bulls, to Draymond's point, you got to remember, maybe he was watching the games where Pippen was out and Pippen had a back injury that whole finals and Jordan had to really carry him. Okay? So I don't agree with him. But if the 98 Bulls were injured, the Warriors could beat them. That being said, the Warriors almost lost to the Rockets, and injury might have saved them. They didn't have Iggy.
That's true,
the Rockets
too.
didn't have Paul. So Iggy's great and a great glue guy, but he's not Chris Paul. So
but the other thing, too, is you actually reminded me that I said this one time, or I said it a bunch of times to you. I used to say the Jazz. Remember when I was like, yo, the Jazz would have had a way better chance against the Bulls if they played more like the Warriors. Because again, and this is, again, I'm going to use this argument to why the Warriors wouldn't have won. Because yes, the Jazz should have had a better chance playing like the Warriors, but at the same time, and again, this is why I don't like analytics. I'm going off of how I see how this game is about to be played. If I put Ron Harper on Clay, and then I alternate Jordan and Pippen on Curry, and then I move Rodman to the 5, and then I put Kukoc at the 4, that lineup will work just fine. I'm matching shooting for shooting, skill for skill, relatively speaking, because there's two things going on here if you compare eras. We either have to assume the Bulls would have grew up in this era, therefore you're not going to convince me Jordan would have shot under 33% from 3. You're not going to convince me Pippen would have shot under 32% from 3. You're not going to convince me Tony Kukoc would have been under 33 from 3. And you're not going to convince me, and then how many more is Steve Kerr taking off the bench? How many more is BJ Armstrong taking coming up in the other years?
Important sidebar here. He did say 98, but important sidebar is that
but I'm even going back to the prior team.
Jordan's first 4 rings, 91, 92, 93, 96.
I think you're about to say it.
He shot 39 to 40% from 3-point range.
Oh, you put a number to it. Yes.
39, it was like, maybe 38.8 or something, but that's 39, 40.
You didn't just say it. You proved what I was about to say, because that's where I was going. I would argue that if we're talking about these teams growing up in the same era, not only is the 98 Bulls team winning, but the first 3-peat team's winning too.
Yeah. So you think the Jazz should have sped it up because they had 3-point shooters and a distributor in Stockton.
And it would have been closer. It might have went 7. And I would have had proof that they wouldn't that the Warriors wouldn't win.
And again, here's the other problem.
I would argue that Jazz team, if they grow up playing like the Warriors, might beat the Warriors because Shannon Anderson could light it up from 3. Brian Russell could light it up from 3. Jeff Hornacek could light it up for 3 and find it off the screens, off the dribble, and pull it quick. John Stockton never missed an open one. So again, what happens if I move Malone to the 5 and just keep alternating 5s between Antoine Carr, Karl Malone, and Greg Ostertag? What happens again?
The 96 Bulls, it's no question, because the 96 Bulls have everyone you named and Jordan in complete FU mode, and they have the better defense. They have the bigger guys. They have the better defense. You didn't have the double team Curry. You just put Pippen or Jordan or Harper on him. And Rodman acting like the Draymond Green, Draymond would get on the small guards.
Draymond ain't the defender Rodman was.
No, not quite, although he's close, but.
No, it's not even as close as people think it is. Because, Rodman was 100 times the athlete of Draymond Green.
Draymond's a better passer and leader. But Rodman's a better defender and better athlete. Yes, Rodman was a great athlete. Now,
like what Draymond does, I don't need Rodman to make those passes on that Bulls team.
Yeah.
Like you do realize Pippen is way better at that part of Draymond than Draymond ever would be, or could be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so that's what I mean. Like there can't be a team built to beat the Bulls until like I see multiple Giannis and LeBron types.
Yeah, and you could say you're going to put, and KD said, hey, all I know is that Steve Kerr put Steve Kerr in a lot of pick and rolls, which is funny. But you got help defense of Rodman, Pippen, and Jordan. Have fun.
But no, you see how but at first I told you there's two ways we can look at this to stay real. Put them in today's game. But no, let's go back the other way now. Now, what happens if they're coached by teams in the Jordan era back then? And you're not
shooting nearly as many threes.
Right. So now what happens? They're nowhere near big enough. And was Brian Williams the center on that team? I'm pretty sure he was. Remember, light-skinned Brian Williams, the lefty, that would drop 15 off the bench and we'd pull him out if he wasn't hot.
I'm not sure if he was on 98.
I remember him guarding Greg Ostertag in Game 6. Yes, he was on that team. I know he was on that team. So I was watching. I was like,
don't disrespect the great Bill Wennington, bro.
Oh, he could shoot the lights out. Like, but Brian Williams, Bill Wennington, and Luke Longley, Phil Jackson was a genius. That's how they stopped Shaq even. It was like they even got another center. I forget who it was. That's what John Sally was on the roster for the years prior.
Just to foul Shaq.
It was to have 24 fouls a game. That's what that was for. I heard Phil say that. They were like, why do you have 4 centers? He's like, Shaq's in the league, right?
And slow down the game. Methodical. Jordan and Pippen in the half court.
Right. So you put in Wennington to bring him out when he's tired.
Yeah.
Shoot 15 footers. Let Jordan drive the lane. And then you would bring in Luke Longley, played it both ways. But Shaq was such a phenomenal athlete. They would both get tired. Then they come out. Brian Williams comes in, who can get 15 on any given night. Now he's making Shaq work. Then you got John Sally and they're just hacking him.
So in the old days, the Bulls, again, the only thing I want to say 2 things. Number one is in 98, we got to remember something. Stockton was already 34, 35. Jordan was 30. I should know this. 34, 35. Again, and Pippen had a back injury. So that's the only part of where I'm like, the 17 Warriors might have had a shot against the 98 Bulls.
In
but 96,
that exact day and time.
Yeah, but 96, 97, no. Yeah. Because the other thing that's really important to mention is that I remember I watched LeBron score 51 against the Warriors. Remember the one where J.R. Smith forgot how much time was left, and then LeBron punched his hand in the wall like Amari Stoudemire and busted his hand and didn't want to tell anybody about it, right? I remember watching that game, and I'm like, Michael Jordan in his prime in this era would do that 3 or 4 times a series in the finals. Yep. Like, do you remember what happened with the run and gun against the Phoenix Suns? He scored 41, 8, and 6 a game. It's like, do you know what he would do in this era? Like, the Warriors can shoot all the threes they want, but Jordan's going to go 25 for 38 from the field for 61 points, one game.
For how quick I heard when people brought up these 2 teams playing each other, for how quick I heard everybody say, who's going to guard this guy? Who's going to guard this guy? Who's going to guard this guy? And they're always asking about the Warriors, but they won't have the conversation the way we're having it now. So if I was on with Mad Dog and he was saying that way, and then also trying to hide the fact that Ron Harper's on the team, I would have cut him off and been like, first of all, if we're talking in this realm, everybody could do this. So when you're saying this, are you telling me Jordan shooting under 33% from 3 also? Are you telling me, no, I'm not saying that. Jordan, okay, so he's good enough now, so shut up.
Who's guarding Jordan?
Yeah, so, but say that when we go back the other way, especially. So you mean to tell me Jordan, like if you put Steph anywhere, Jordan is rocking that fadeaway from 15 feet all day on Curry. Are you crazy? And he's doing it to Clay too. Like, are you crazy? And then the second you start double teaming that, he's passing right out of it. Like, are you insane? Like, there's no way to beat that team on any realm. Like, that team is so far ahead of its time. Man. It's insane.